Hey everybody, welcome back. So we have a bit of a situation here today. We got quite the snow here in Minnesota, and I want to say there's over a foot of snow out there. And it's March, and I've been kind of limping through with my snowblower. The last time I went out there and went to do the pull handle, the rope broke. I think anyone who's ever owned a lawnmower or a snowblower that happens, it's inevitable, especially if you've owned one for years. Mine did that. And so the other issue that I've had with my snowblower is the choke just isn't working really well. I think there's the particular snowblower I have is a Troy-Bilt Storm 2620, and this snowblower is known to have it was a pretty bad carburetor that was put in there. I've had it apart before, but I think it's just getting dirty. I don't have probably all the stuff on hand that I need to clean it and get it fully restored and functional. But I do have these brushes, and it's kind of like these little brush kits. But I'm gonna take it apart. But the one thing that you want to make sure that you don't do is it's operable right now. So I'm gonna snowblow my driveway. I have another property next door that I snowblow as well. So I'm gonna snowblow those, and then I'm gonna take a look at it today and see if I can get it running better, so I don't have those surging. If I was to open up the choke, start it, and then if I was to start once it starts to warm up and idle, it surges pretty bad. So I'm going to take a look at that today, see if I can get it running better. But I'm going to do it after I snowblow because, like I said, it's functioning. But we'll show you what it's kind of doing here. All right, so it is a winter wonderland out here. You can see that it's pretty deep. I'll go out to my shed here and get the snowblower. Challenge even opening up the gate today. Nice thing is the gate stays open once I got it going there. But this all happened in a matter of 12 hours. So here's the snowblower. Like I said, it's a Troy-Bilt. It's a Troy-Bilt Storm 2620. And you can see that my pull string yanked out the last time that I was out here doing this. I'm not going to fix that today. What's nice is it does have a remote start, but yeah, we're going to pull it around the front. I do auto start it, I use the starter to start it right now, so it's not all is lost. So here we are. I got that gets plugged in right here. There we go. So I got this cord plugged into the wall over there. Got this plugged in. Usually I turn the choke right there like that. Let's get some priming going here. And then this will usually pop right off. There we go. So as you can see, that pops right off, no problem. But once it warms up, it'll begin to surge, and that's not what we want. See, now it's starting to get a rough idle. So then I start to close the choke. That actually sounds pretty good. But now you can start to hear it start to surge a little bit. And yeah, it's time for some maintenance on this. As it fully warms up, so I should be able to move that choke all the way to the run position and not have it surge. And we just can't get there. It's more on the choke side. So yeah, we'll take a look at it after we blow the snow. But look at that. That's a lot of snow. Well, we're back inside. That was an awful snow blow. I won't even get into it. Like I said, it was this time of the year. It's warm snow, and some of us call warm snow Widowmaker snow because that's when there's a higher chance of a heart attack for people who just think they're going to go out and go get it. Each shovel worth of snow is like 40 pounds, so it's just really wet, yucky snow. So it's good to have a snowblower. Although this thing is idling funny, it ran like a champ in its state and got me through the situation. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to kind of go through, it might be a time lapse, but I'm going to I'm going to focus on just taking this all off so I can get to the carburetor. The choke right here is right here, so I believe the carburetor is right behind here, so I got to take some of these pieces off, and then we'll get into where the carburetor is located at, and we'll take a look at it and probably get it off. So it is currently just after 1 p.m. It's 1:09, so we're going to see how long this actually takes us. I don't think this stuff takes us all that long. You just got to kind of dig into it, but don't need a whole lot of specialty tools though either. So I think this will be fairly reasonable. And the big thing is why get your hands dirty when it's not necessary? I'm going to get a tray here. There, look at that. Boom, right there. 4 bolts gets that shroud off. This goes here. Let's see here. It's kind of a goofy setup. This entire piece come off as one. So there's a little clip here on each one of these. I'm going to take that off. So this is the hose to prime the. I only got this super long one. My other one is over at Patrick's place. Here we go. Just take that off. That's the hose to prime things. Just gotta figure out how to get this off. So blue towards me. That's what we're gonna remember. Oh, we're getting somewhere. Getting somewhere, just don't know where yet. That just comes off like that. Gotta figure out how to get this off over here. 2 Phillips screws. Oh yeah, that's way better. There we go. So there we go. Got the red thing off. Now that pops off. And here's our prize. So that goes on there like that. So we'll take those off, set those in the exact spot they're supposed to be in. That's the fuel tank right there. So you don't want to have fuel run everywhere. To avoid that, I got these Harbor Freight hose clamps. So that blocks off the fuel from coming out. Be very careful with this gasket. Since we don't have an extra, we didn't order anything, but we could probably do this in half the time if we end up getting the parts that we need. Probably gonna leak a little fuel here. Not a ton. There we go. Yeah, we leaked a little fuel. All right, we got it. That's the carburetor. This is what we wanted to get. Just gonna kind of disassemble some things and see what I'm dealing with here. I'll be back at you. There is an adjuster right here, so I'm gonna play with that after I get everything cleaned up too. There's still some fuel in here, so I'm gonna take this. This will help me drain it right here. All right, sorry for the mess. It took me 20 minutes to get to this point. So I took this off. That helped me get most of the rest of the fuel out of there. Let's dive into the carburetor itself. There, that holds that in there. That's the float. So that seems to be in pretty good shape. So I'll take that off there like that. Take that in there like that. I'm going to take some brushes and make sure all these things are clean. So I had gotten these picks and brushes a while back off of Amazon. And they're really good for getting into tight spaces here. Which is exactly what I want to clean. I get into the really good tight spaces. Normally you replace the seal too. This is getting kind of worn too. I don't have the seals, so I'm not replacing that today, but all right, so this is, so you don't want to get too aggressive with it, but you want to really get into these ports and clean them out, especially when you're storing a snowblower for the summer. It's good to put fuel stabilizer in there, but you want to get the ports all degunked. Take my air compressor and blow this out too. All right, got that all cleaned off. I'm gonna put this back together. Gotta figure out how it goes back together again. I think this was in there like this. I'm gonna put some silicone grease on that. All right, so you want to clean out this bulb too. You don't want there to be any debris in there. Use a brush. I'm sure people who do this are like, no, you can't do that. Well, I am. So look at how much cleaner that is. Oh. Of course, I'm not going to put it back together with all this sediment in there, but I'm take my air compressor and blow out all that again. And most of that, like I said, just kind of gets in there from you storing fuel and it getting old. And it's just kind of hanging out in there. Look how much better that is. Oh, it's way better. Way more better. And again, if I had planned ahead for this, I would have had a kit lined up. Instead of trying to get it on the seal, I'm going to put this on the rim here. Put this all around the rim. And then this will go on there like that. Look at that. That lubricates the seal. Extra amount of that on there. Oop. My little pin fell out. That wouldn't have been good, huh? Put that back together and then the pin is out. There we go. So that's back in there like that. It's wet there. No, I'm just gonna keep that right there. All right, well it's our choke cable, right? So this is just kind of deciding how things are open and closed, right? So we're gonna hook that back up. I'll put some silicone grease in there. I'm gonna put some silicone grease in here so this floats really smooth as well. So, be right back. All right, since we're gonna be putting this back together, these are your two surfaces where those gaskets come back in. I'm gonna clean off the surface of the gasket, make sure this is all cleaned off. You don't wanna damage that surface at all. We'll get everything put back together. All right, so we're back at it. Got the fuel line hooked back up. That's probably the biggest thing in terms of wanting to avoid making a mess. Is getting your fuel line hooked back up. I put the clip back on exactly where it was. This was down over here like this. Guard back here keeps all these, there we go. That keeps that from the float. That's how I want that to be. I'm not saying you could do this, but you could do this if you were in a bind. You could cut a piece of cardboard for this. Get yourself through. If you tore this gasket somehow and we're really in a spot, that would have been on there like this. Sometimes it's just a matter of trying to figure out how things went back together. Just take it slow. You know, that was on there like that. So that's not going to go anywhere. And if I want to adjust that, there is not much room in there, but I think I can move this. There's a little adjuster in there. I think I can move that and use that. I'm going to try that here in a little bit. Primer tube. So there's the primer. And then on this one, I said blue is towards me. That's what I said. Put that electrical connection on right here, just so you guys can see. There's the primer tube that went down there. That followed into that valley, and then you got these two. This is the kill switch, right? So you're going to take this off, put that back together. That kill switch, when you have that in there, makes the connection. So that's in there like that. Now I can technically put the shroud back on, but again, there's a little adjuster in there, and that is between this and that. So I think I'm going to just take this off for now while I work on that. I'm going to get a good seal on this right here. This is what, essentially puts this thing back together. I want that to have a nice seal. And again, if I need to adjust this, I can there's a screw in there that I think I'll probably play with right in through here. There's an adjuster. So I'll get this fired up and we'll play with that adjuster, but we're not going to play with it with the garage door open. Okay, I'm going to bring this outside, fire it up, and see what we got going on. All right, well, battery's about to die here, but as you can see, I got this going here. All right, back in here, you can separate these two pieces of plastic. There's an idler adjuster. When you have your choke, so you're gonna turn your choke all the way open when you fire it up, and then as you as it starts to warm up, you should be able to move this all the way to the closed position, and you should have a nice high idle. Well, I was not having that. I was having surging. So what we did was we pulled the carburetor off, obviously cleaned it all out, cleaned all the nooks and crannies on it. And again, I've had this apart one other time, probably 5-6 years ago. It was about due for a cleaning, but didn't run really well after that. I didn't know really what I was doing. I did a little bit of research on this before I did, but obviously you can see that I didn't do a whole lot to it. I just really cleaned it up, and that adjuster was everything. So I think the carburetor overall was still in pretty good shape. It was just that I had to adjust it, but I'm back in business, and this is at the end of the season, so I'm expecting it's going to run well for me next season, and you know, we'll be in good shape. So I'm going to put that cover back on that exhaust manifold. That's really to protect yourself from getting burnt, as you I almost burned myself back here in a little bit, but that's just the regular maintenance on these snowblowers that you might want to do once in a while. If you like this video, I hope it helped. It was kind of an ad hoc thing. It's been due for maintenance for a while, so appreciate you hanging with me, and thanks for watching.